Nakaseke district is in the central part of Uganda, and it is one of the districts that were largely affected by the war, the 1980 to 96 Liberation War. And as you walk through it, you still see the scars of the war, which are evident on the buildings, and definitely some are still evident in people's hearts. It is really where our schools are located, and so there's still a lot of work that is being done in this community.
My name is Simone Puccinelli. I'm the founder and president of an organization called Simone's Kids. Simone's Kids started in 2010, but my story really starts a little bit before that. When I was a child, I used to just love the idea of helping other kids that were in need. I went on different mission trips in middle school and high school to just try to learn and grow. When I was in college, I got an email from a lady that had worked in Uganda and Rwanda, those countries, and she told me about this gentleman named Godfrey. He had a desire to help the children in his community get off the streets, get an education, and he said that he had brought about 80 students in, and him and his wife and a few other people were trying to teach them the best they could. But they didn't have any funding. They didn't have any way of supporting themselves or supporting the school. They needed $500 for the rent to cover for the whole year. In my dorm room, I just started crying because I just felt like it was just one of those moments, you know, that this is what you're supposed to do. I did some small fundraisers around campus, started a Facebook page, called it Simone's Kids. I traveled here to just visit and just see him, meet him, see what was going on. And during that visit, my heart really broke that these kids needed someone like watching over them and helping them.
I met Simone in 2010 when she came to visit. We were going to close the school because we had no funds for the teachers and the house rent.
And the school was so impoverished that some poor families around that couldn't afford to send their kids to school were too embarrassed to send their kids to that school. I didn't really have any money to start building this school. And someone contacted me to meet them in Atlanta, someone I had never met, and they wanted to give to Simone's Kids. They said a large donation. So I told all my friends and family I was going to meet someone I didn't know in downtown Atlanta. And it was a couple. And they said they had seen a Facebook video shared by someone at Lee University about what I was doing, and they just really felt the Holy Spirit tell them to give. So they wrote me a check right there. And with that money, we laid the foundation and built 2 classrooms. And once we started building and I could show people that we were building a school, a lot more people started getting involved to help finish it.
Before the construction of the new school, it was a very big challenge here because this area is very near the road, as you can see. And actually the school lost one girl. There was a vehicle accident and this girl died. It hurt me so much, it hurt the community so much because the number of children was growing very high and the area was very small. So when we moved it down, it was safe for the children and it was safe for the teachers who are working with the Simone's Kids organization.
Children that come to our school, they come from a very poor community. So when we talk about vulnerability, it includes the orphans, it includes the needy children. We have children that are coming from broken families, We have children that have lost both or either or one of the parents. And so the whole catchment area of this community, of our school, is a community that has vulnerable and poor families.
My first trip was when we actually broke ground for the new site of God's Hope Primary School. Just in 1 year, we had 2 new classrooms, we had more students, we had more sponsors that were a part of Simone's Kids. And so just within 1 year, coming back to Uganda and seeing that growth at God's Hope Primary School, I knew that this was something beyond the control of any person, that God was absolutely providing in this place, in this community, and the provisions were just coming so fast.
The way we eat here, it is not as other schools do, not at all. Even in our homes, it is not the same case. Here it is very, very much common to have a family having only 1 meal a day. So, but here we are very much privileged that we can have our breakfast, we can have our lunch, which is not the case even when you go for the holidays. They look healthier when they're at school. That one, I'm telling you the truth, they do.
When I just come here, we didn't have textbooks. We had few for the teachers, but when we came in 2015, Simone's Kids had to buy for us very many books, and each class has over 120 books for the pupils, which is so good.
Over the years, we have grown so much, and on my heart has always been to help the children past the primary school age. So they age out around 12 or 13 years, and we didn't really have anything in place for them after that. But they were still either in extreme poverty or orphans, and so their only options were to go back on the streets, maybe start working.
We had the primary school, and our primary 7 students could go to other neighboring secondary schools. And that hurt me so much because they could not be able to monitor their spiritual life, to monitor their performance in the academics.
I really prayed for a long time. Actually, since the beginning, I was like, how am I going to take care of these kids after they turn 12 or 13 years old? And the high school next door to our primary school was just kind of, it wasn't under good management. But the person that owned it really got in a lot of trouble with money and needed to sell it. I was sharing the story with a gentleman and saying that it was $50,000, and so we didn't really know how we were going to come up with money, but we wanted to do this for our kids. And he said, well, I'll give you the $50,000.
That's when I realized you have a big God. And that was my turning point. When the owner of this high school wanted 150 million, I've never counted that myself. And we were like, we are getting it within 1 year. But we teamed up, me, Hope, Manson, when they were praying over the funds. And Simone rang Manson and said, hey, hey Manson, we've got the funds. Then Manson rang me and said, guess what? I said, what? Where are you? I said, I'm somewhere. Could you come over home? Manson told me, we have got the funds to buy the high school. We all got into tears. We could not believe. The miracle was too big for all of us. We could not believe. At first I thought maybe Manson was kidding.
Overnight we had 2 schools, and I was like, ah, what am I gonna do with 2 old schools? And it like pretty much doubled the kids we're taking care of, because we obviously accepted, like, there's 6 grades at the high school. And so, but the goal was to take our kids from primary school, which there's about 30 per class, and move them up and just kind of, you know, stream them into the high school.
With everything that has been coming up, everything that has, like all of the miracles that have happened for the past 4 years, all of the provisions that we've had from God, Simone's Kids has managed to build a library for the school, making kids access the books and easy for them to read, creating a very good learning environment for them. Simone's Kids managed to provide like bicycles for the kids who are coming from far, which makes them think about school even more, because some of them don't even get what to eat at home, and they still have hope that when we go to school tomorrow, we'll have breakfast and lunch.
For everyone in the Simone's Kids program, we have these shoes. They are different colors. Not all of them are blue. But some of you are still growing, yeah? So this shoe will grow with your foot.
And I came here when the school, very many children, they had no shoes, but now they are putting on shoes. They were sleeping. They had no mattresses. I'm seeing some of them, they have provided them with mattresses. And another thing, they were getting sick always, who would not have where we had no sick bed or clinic, but now we have the clinic.
Yes, Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Groundbreaking.
Yes.
Check.
We have seen many lives of young people who had totally lost hope of secondary education. Their hope is restored, and most importantly also, the school that by that time was crumbling down has been resurrected to a brand new life. The rebranding was not only in the name, but in the structures, in the management, in the administration, in the enrollment. And so our children are very happy, and the enrollment has increased because the whole community has bought back into the life that was once here, and the life that is actually continuing to grow.
Very many kids are changed and transformed through the scripture union that is in the school. That's one of the unique things that is transforming a lot of lives in the school.
One of the greatest call we have, I think, that we are doing is transforming the lives of young people. And with our philosophy, with our slogan of training the head, the heart, and the hands, I am excited in particular that in 2017 we included a vocational training. And so when we look at our children, we are equipping them with skills so we can be certain they will be useful mothers, they will be useful fathers, because we are trying to reach out to their heart with the gospel. We are training their hands with the skills in the vocational component, and their heads with these other academic trainings. Actually, what is a bit outstanding that has even attracted more young people to join our school around here is the opportunity to learn a skill. Because the trend of the economy and the country is changing at a very high speed. And so as a ministry, we need to position ourselves to make our students very relevant. Today, this is one of the schools that is becoming an answer to the needs of the community.
So sometimes there's not always the happiest endings in some of these situations. We find children that are truly not being taken care of at all, maybe being abused, maybe living on their own, maybe really sick, and maybe sick beyond what we can reverse. And I've had children that I've gone really close to. One child, his name was Henry, and he was about 5 years old, and you could just tell by looking at him that he was not being taken care of, unloved, and we further investigated He had AIDS and had full-blown tuberculosis. And while I was here, I took him to the hospital and I stayed with him, brought him food, and eventually I started seeing him smile back at me and tell me that he loved me, and I knew that he had experienced, you know, a mother's love through that. But in the end, sometimes because it's not caught early, in Henry's case, you know, he ended up passing away at the age of 5 years old. His grave is right up here. And I just like to come visit him because there's probably not anyone else that knows about Henry and Henry's life. But what makes me happy is that I know before he passed away that he was taken care of and he did know that he was loved. It still really breaks my heart that we can't actually save everyone. We can't have him with us anymore. We can't watch him grow up. It was just really hard to know that, you know, maybe earlier intervention would have prevented this. But just really miss him. Sorry about this. Yeah. The good is that we have people here on the ground though that can keep going back and try to work with these parents or these grandparents to let us help their children. And we've actually seen from some families that have different religious backgrounds, the kids come and start receiving the love of Christ and they go home and share it, and the families all get caught onto that same love. And it's just amazing to watch.
Simone's Kids has continued to go deeper into the kids' homes, getting to know where they come from, getting to know how they sleep, getting to know how they associate with the parents, getting to know how they eat. It is not that we stop interacting with the kids at the school, but what we're doing is more better because kids get to see the love of God.
It's more than just educating students. It's going and living life with them and finding out their stories and going and visiting their homes and finding out how you can help. Why are they struggling? Why is this student sleeping in class? Why is this student never smiling? Why does this student always come to school dirty? And you find out their problems and you go and you sit in the dirt with them and figure it out and figure out what you can do to give them hope and make their lives better.
This place has been a turning point in the lives of many young people. This happens to be our 3rd year, and we are just from one of the baptisms for this year. I have seen kids entirely surrender their lives to Jesus, and that comes a very big point in their lives when they surrender, when we see their attitude towards their own lives, towards their own vision has completely changed because of their encounter with Jesus Christ.
The kids that come when their lives are hopeless, and then at the end of it all, or at the end of their courses, they receive hope and a bright future when they come out of this environment.
Most of our children come to our school with broken hearts, they come from broken families, and the gospel has been the center of mending their hearts.
I've always loved the name God's Hope for both our primary school and our high school. And I know that it's It was a divine name, and it is just so fitting. Because in Nakasake, there are a lot of bad situations everywhere you look. You walk outside of our school compound, and there are families without food. There are grandparents taking care of 6 grandchildren. But when you walk into the compound of God's Hope Schools, you feel like you're walking into a safe haven. Simone's Kids is making a change beyond just educating the mind, that it really is going. We're increasing their health, we're increasing their quality of life, we're increasing their stability of their home lives. So encouraging to see that in a place that is so broken, there is hope for the students that enter the gates of God's Hope Primary School and God's Hope High School.
If somebody would have told me that how do you see the Simone's Kids organization within the 2-3 years to come, I would have very fake answers. I'm so scared about this dream of the Simone's Kids organization. The speed we are growing on is so fast. So that's what encourages me most of the time. But I never thought about the progress of Simone's Kids within this short period of time.
I've been able to watch these kids now for like 8 years grow in health, grow like just physically. You can tell that they are healthier, and you can see spiritual growth. They come up and encourage me, pray for me, and that's probably the most rewarding thing for me, because it's like getting to see, you know, the fruit of your labor.
Some of them are already sharing their big dreams. I want to become this, and you see them very passionate about what they want to become. So we are looking at a great future as far as this country is concerned and as far as the families around this community are concerned.
Through the salary I'm getting from Simone's Kids, I get to help my mom, I get to help my grandma, I get to help my cousins in Rwanda. Like, I'm trying to do some I'm trying to help out as much as I can. And sorry. That is it. That is it. So, through Simone's Kids, I've done something out of my life. And I'm really very appreciative with the cause of Simone's Kids. Not me as a whole, but everyone around Nakasake.
I think our future holds quite a lot more than we have seen. And we trust in the goodness of the Lord that He will continue to move this great organization to its full destiny. We are making such a great impact. We are so grateful to all the wonderful people that have stood behind Simone. Today, this is the 3rd year of the existence of the secondary school. Our enrollment has increased because of the hope that people are seeing in this place. And we know God is behind everything, and He will take us further than this. Amen.